Have you ever felt like everything around you is falling apart and God is silent? If that's ever happened to you, know this: you're not alone. There are moments in life when the ground seems to vanish beneath our feet. And no matter how much we pray, cry out, or plead, the sky remains silent. It could be the loss of someone you love, a diagnosis you didn't expect, a door that closes without warning, or just that feeling of exhaustion, the kind that makes you wonder if things will ever change. That's when the question starts to echo in our hearts. Did God forget about me? Now picture this scene from the Bible. Mark chapter 4. Jesus tells his disciples, "Let's cross to the other side." So they go, they obey, they get into the boat. The sky is clear, the sea calm. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a storm breaks out. A real one, violent, loud, terrifying. Wind howling, waves crashing. Panic sets in, and here's the wild part. These were seasoned fishermen. They knew how to handle a boat, but this storm was different. So fierce, even they were terrified. What's most striking? Jesus was in the boat, sleeping. Right there, in the middle of the chaos, he was resting. Sound familiar? Sometimes we're doing everything right. We're following Jesus, obeying his word, but the storm still comes. And it feels like God is asleep. But here's the truth. Jesus was present. Even in silence, he never left. He didn't jump ship. He was right there. The disciples finally cried out, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Maybe that's your cry today too. "God, where are you? I'm going under here." And then Jesus stood up, calm and steady. He faced the storm, spoke to the wind and sea, and said, "Peace, be still." And just like that, everything fell silent. This story reminds us that the storm doesn't mean God has abandoned us. True faith isn't about avoiding the waves, it's about standing firm when they crash. Sometimes God doesn't calm the storm around us immediately, because first, he wants to calm the storm within us. So if your heart is heavy today, if the waves feel too strong, if the noise of life is drowning you, pause, breathe. Remember this: Jesus is still in your boat, and he's still in control. It might look like everything is falling apart, but it's not. This storm won't be your end. It might just be the beginning of a deeper faith. If there's one thing storms do, it's expose where our trust really lies. When life is smooth, it's easy to say we trust God. But when the wind picks up, when the waves crash in, when answers don't come, that's when we see what our faith is truly made of. The Bible is full of people who went through their own storms, people just like you and me. What sustained them wasn't a life free of trouble, but a faith that stood firm in the midst of it. Think about Job, a man of integrity, devoted to God, blessed and respected. Then suddenly he lost everything: his children, his health, his wealth, even his friends. And yet Job looks up and says, "Though he slay me, yet will I hope in him." That's not feel-good faith. That's real, raw faith, forged in pain and held together by trust. Or take David. Before becoming king, he faced a giant, literally. Just a young shepherd, no armor, no sword. And yet he ran toward Goliath with boldness. There was no fear. In him, only faith. He didn't trust in his own strength, but in the God who had always walked with him. And then there's Paul, imprisoned, beaten, persecuted. And still, he sang in the jail cell. His freedom didn't come from broken chains, but from a heart grounded in the truth that God was in control, even when circumstances screamed otherwise. These stories weren't recorded just to move us emotionally. They're here to remind us faith doesn't always take us around the fire. Sometimes it walks us through it, because the storm, it teaches things calm seas never could. God never wastes pain. He uses chaos to shape character. He turns suffering into strength, silence into clarity. Here's a powerful truth: unshakable trust isn't built on stage. It's formed in the wilderness. It grows in those nights when all you have is a whispered prayer and the fragile hope that God still hears you, and he does. He always does. When your soul is weary and quitting feels easier than standing, hold on. The same God who led you into this sea will carry you to the other side. He didn't say, let's try to get across. He said, let us go to the other side. And if he said it, you'll get there. In the meantime, feed your faith. Stay in the Word. Talk to God, even if your voice shakes. That's where trust grows, not in the absence of fear, but in the presence of God. Remember Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. You're not just going through a storm, you're being prepared. And in time, you'll realize that what hurts today will become the testimony that heals someone tomorrow. Here's something you might not have realized. The storm you're facing right now may be exactly where God is shaping you the most. No one walks out of a storm the same. You either come out broken or stronger. But what makes the difference isn't the size of the waves. It's where your trust is anchored. If we look closely, maybe the storm didn't come to destroy you. Maybe it came to reveal you, to show you where the cracks are, where fear still hides, where faith needs to grow, and above all, to remind you that God is still there, in the noise, in the pain, in the waiting. And here's the beautiful part. God isn't upset when you question him. He doesn't walk away when you cry or when you say you don't understand. Quite the opposite. He draws closer. When the disciples cried out in fear, Jesus didn't scold them. He responded with presence. He stood up, faced the chaos, and spoke peace, and he still does that today. Unshakable trust doesn't look like perfect faith. It looks more like a weary heart that, even without answers, chooses to keep believing. That says, Lord, I don't see the way, but I trust that you do. And when that kind of trust takes root, everything changes. Not always around you, but within you. The soul finds rest, even if the sea stays rough. The heart finds calm, even under gray skies. Because true faith isn't about peaceful surroundings. It's about knowing who's in control. Remember Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. All things. The good, the painful, the confusing. God doesn't play with our pain. He transforms it. So maybe today, instead of asking God to stop the storm, you need to ask what he wants to teach you through it. Lord, what are you shaping in me here? That one question can change everything. Maybe he's teaching you patience, or how to trust without having control. Maybe he's cutting out things that no longer serve your purpose. It may hurt, but it also sets you free, and one day you'll notice that the storm doesn't shake you like before, that the waves, though high, no longer make you tremble, because something changed. You changed. Trust became your anchor, and when the time is right, Jesus will say, we've reached the other side. You'll look back and see, you made it, you grew, and now you carry a story that will bring comfort to others. Because no one can speak peace better than someone who's been through the storm and lived to tell it. So hold tight, breathe. You're walking through this, not alone, not abandoned, but guided by the one who never loses control. Unshakable trust doesn't mean life is storm-free. It means knowing, deep down, that even in the storm, heaven still reigns.